all things that you have to just manage in your life. But I am more, I think that this is the main thing that's missing in this entire situation, is like understanding how much insane amounts of development you can make when you have a goal that you are working for every single day for a period of time, like 6 months or a year. Like, you can make such insane strides that will then allow you to be good at the next thing you do, or be even better at the next thing you do. Like, I know people are kind of like, I've seen this comment a lot with like my career. You know, this is always the thing that people type on like Reddit and stuff, is like, oh man, like once this pro play thing dies out, this guy's gonna be working at McDonald's. That was always like the comment that I would see. If this like after pro play, all these guys are just gonna be working at McDonald's. I actually completely disagree with that. I think that, like, okay, streaming, whatever, I did pro play, I'm doing streaming. I think whatever I do next, the things that I've learned to become somebody who's had a career for like 10 years as a streamer and as a pro player and been competing essentially the whole time in like these fields, I do think that the next thing that I'll do, I'll be even better at than the last couple things I've done, because of everything that I've learned that can't be developed just by going through the standard track of life. So that would be my take on this whole situation. So there we go. That's my advice to people that have something like this to do. You also have to be obviously honest about your living circumstances. Respectfully, I did the math based on my current improvement rate. I am 6 months out with enough savings to last within that amount of time. With rent plus other factors, Twitter limits my words. If you would like to have a discussion, I am open. I want to have a discussion trying to prevent a car crash and a bad outcome X months from now, when where all that ended up happening was bled money. There are players with more social following than yourself, very important in the WWE era of League of Legends, and who are much higher level players who couldn't get in. It's intellectually irresponsible, and you'd have a better luck jamming 7-2 offsuit all in on a poker table at an Indian casino. Yeah, I just think that the thing that's not hit there is everything that I talked about. But yeah, that would be my opinion on these types of situations. Yeah, no, I mean, like, look, the problem is that he's horrible at the game. Like, if he wasn't completely horrible at the fucking game, like, you know, it would be even, I would be even more on his side. But just in general, I still like, if he really thinks that he can make it as a pro player, and he's going to take it as serious as possible and grind every single day and not play 10 games of fucking arena, then we will see where it goes. Someone on Los Ratones. Okay, so I actually did some research, because people were making it seem like Boss like has some playstyle that's like really hard to understand. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. Okay, so here I had a video where it was Razor and Humanoid commenting on Los Ratones joining LEC. Like, if Los Ratones was in LEC right now, what position would they be? Razor said 9th or 10th, and I was like, I think that that's like fair to say. Like, I don't think that's a ridiculous thing to say at all. Fans think it's ridiculous. They think that you're just hating if you say that. Just an opinion. Like, maybe they'll make LEC and they'll prove people wrong. They obviously won EU Masters, but in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to LEC, we've seen EU Masters champions not perform. Even ones that have like years of experience. Like, for example, they're like, oh, but like Nemesis Reckless and Crowny have played in LEC before. I mean, I don't know why this is controversial, but Nemesis Reckless and Crowny are the best players on Los Ratones. That should not be controversial, but it somehow is controversial. Why? I don't know. Like, I think it should make sense that the people that have played pro for years and understand the pro game make less mistakes than the players that have never played pro before. Like, a lot of games, when Boss like falls behind, or when he starts like inting, like, he is not doing positive things for the game just because they end up winning later on. So like, I read through my comments. There was like a comment with like 23 upvotes, and it says, it's so weird to me that even Dom carries this opinion that the issue is Boss and getting behind. I feel like he and a lot of people who hold this opinion haven't really been paying that close attention to Los Ratones games, which is like true. I haven't played like paid super close attention. So I did go back and I actually like spent some time, you know, analyzing how he's been playing. Boss may have deaths, yes, almost never solo, by the way, but there's also almost never a case where he is behind in gold or CS. And the fact that he draws so much attention in draft and in game, it opens up so much for Los Ratones in both scenarios, as far as getting to pick who they want, and the sheer map control and map movement they get. This is just not true, by the way. It's not like Boss only dies on good timers for his bot side. Like, the way Boss plays is that he wants to die so that he gets a wave, right? Like, that's his goal. Is like, I want to get this wave and I will die for this wave so that like I don't fall behind, because he doesn't want to like play under his turn and stuff like that. It's not like he only does this when there's a cross map available or his team is getting something on the other side of the map. Also, you have to consider, when you play in NLC, things are going to be skewed. Like NOC has like 3 to 4 good teams, and then the rest of the teams are like master tier players. So bosses, like there's a difference between like when boss is playing versus Lundqvist light side and when he's playing against players that would be like low tier LEC players. So you know, when he played E Masters, for example, or when he's playing against like Vizichachi. Last time we saw Vizichachi play in LEC, he was probably like a low tier top laner when he played with Astralis, and he actually was one of the worst laners in the league during that period. Maybe he's gotten better. Obviously, you can't know that, but I would assume that that would probably be like what Vizichachi's mechanical skill would be. In my opinion, his weakness isn't early game. It's actually the mid to later parts of the game where he knows he's strong and sometimes takes fights that are not the best or not on a good timer with the objective. But I think he's done a good job of reeling that in, and he's more and in the more he's played with Los Ratones, and their communication in game has gotten stronger. I don't know. I really think the LEC isn't as great as some people think or portray. It's like, I don't think the LEC is great. I just think that it would be like, I'm not saying that Los Ratones would lose every game if they're going to be 9th or 10th, right? If you think about what 9th place is right now in the LEC, you compare it to like teams that would be fighting for that 9th place like spot. 9th place team right now, if we're being intellectually honest about the LEC, and we're gonna say that most likely in the LEC, Rogue is the worst team, the 9th place team right now is Giant X, right? Giant X technically is 9th place. Do I think Giant X with Jackie's, Jun, Noah would be able to like match the strength of Los Ratones and then be stronger elsewhere? For example, I think Lot is much more disciplined, and I think that Lot is actually somebody who is smart about the game and wouldn't actually like fall into boss's traps. He would just take the lead and play consistently. He could also play a lot of things that scale well if you're getting free kills. So like, this is like, what I'm saying is like, I think that Giant X most likely would beat. Okay, so you take Giant X, 9th place team in LEC, you put Los Ratones right now in a best of 5 tomorrow. I think that Giant X would have the advantage. I'm not saying that it would be a massive advantage. I'm saying like, I predict that it would be like 60% win Giant X, 65% win Giant X. And I think that's being like honestly a little bit soft in my prediction. I think you could even go higher than that. And I think LR has a completely original style and strategy, and I don't see why they couldn't have success there. This isn't like some makeshift team where from nowhere we're talking about. This is some massive leap in skill here. I mean, the core of this team is Nemesis, Crowny, and Reckless. Pretty sure I told you an LEC team had those players, you'd say they should be a top team. No, I wouldn't say that. Like, I wouldn't say just because they have Nemesis, Crowny, and Reckless. Like, if Nemesis, Crowny, and Reckless joined LEC tomorrow, I wouldn't be like, this is automatically like a top team in the LEC. Players that haven't played an LEC in a while, I think it would be like they have to prove that they're like still like good enough to compete on that level consistently, and they can deal with like the grind of the LEC. Like LEC is a whole different thing, bro. You're not just like playing from home. You're having media day. Like there's a lack of time when you're playing in the LEC. You're dealing with media day. You have to travel to like, you know, now they're doing road shows. I mean, if they were in LEC, they'd be doing road shows. Like, it's not something that's like super easy to play in, where it's like, oh, they jump in there and they're suddenly, I'm gonna guarantee that they're a top 3 team. Like, a top team in LEC right now would be like KC, Fnatic, G2, and people will make fun of Fnatic. I mean, I make fun of Fnatic's discipline levels, but they're not a dog shit team. They're not a terrible team. Then you have like Movistar Koi, and then under Movistar Koi, you get into like teams like Team Heretics, which actually are playing pretty disciplined nowadays. They don't even have great personnel, but the way that Heretics plays is pretty disciplined nowadays. You have BDS, you have Vitality. Like, these are not like pushovers. Like, these teams can beat you. These teams do know how to play the game. And when you look at like the players that are on those teams, it's like, you look at a team like Vitality and it's like, oh, if I told you like a team had Karzi, Niski, and Linkus, it would be like, oh, you'd think that would be a pretty good team. I mean, Linkus is somebody who's always at the top of the ladder. Karzi is, you know, somebody who's known to be really good in LEC. Like, he's somebody who's won LEC multiple times. Niski's won LEC as well. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just think that that's like, I wouldn't just say that those players automatically make the best team. I don't think 3 players make the best team anyway. Even if Nemesis, Crowny, and Reckless were performing at a super high level, who else is on the team, bro? Like, we see multiple teams that have players that should be good on paper, names that should be good on paper, just be like terrible teams, right? We've seen this multiple times before. So that's to this comment. So I decided to go back, and I was like looking at what his assertion is. So like, what I did is I looked at Boss in his games where he's playing versus, in my mind, like players that would be like bottom tier LEC. So for example, when you go to Boss and you go to tournament, I looked at EMEA Masters, right? EMEA Masters, there were some easy games for them. Let me see. I think their first matches were easy. Like Nightbirds, I don't know much about them. He's getting leads in those games. But when I look at like his overall stats, he is behind in CS on average at 15. He is behind in gold at 15. He's behind in experience at 15. he's not like ahead. I feel like the way people see Boss's playstyle is they think that he's always like ahead in gold and ahead in CS and ahead in experience, but he's like inting a lot. Like this is just to the enemy top laner, by the way. And then if you go back and you look at like the games, I just think a lot of these games like are not recoverable. Like even if you look at, for example, Nord versus Los Ratones game 2. So this was yesterday's games from Boss. I mean, he was doing okay. Honestly though, like when I'm looking at this game, I think he should die at level 4. I mean, he just gives a dry solo kill. He's playing Cho'Gath into Trundle. I mean, also I feel like Boss's champion pool, it's pretty easy to prep against. Like you know what's coming. And Nord just exploited that yesterday, right? So gives a dry solo kill. Then Chachi is able to set up the dive, get the dive off. Okay, so here you're going for this dive and you're getting like Drake 1, but your top laner is getting like impossibly far behind, and the Nefaria is going to be able to get grubs after. So it's like you're trading objectives. You can't actually make a bot play here because NX just took a base. You're losing plates top. And like if No Way doesn't walk here, like there's no reason No Way should be here, by the way. Like this is No Way's weak side and he's just making a mistake by clearing this ward. Like the idea that you automatically have a play on the other side of the map every time Boss dies, it's just not true. Like I don't know how else to say it. Go through all of his deaths and then see if there's always a cross map available. Like it's not a coordinated thing where it's like, Boss, you're gonna die on this timing, we have a cross map. Here's another one of his deaths. So cross map available. They don't have a dive opportunity on the Ezreal here. Crowning is out of mana. Bot lane is just chilling. They're just accepting the free advantage topside, which is what I think a lot of teams in LEC would do. They would accept this free advantage topside. Like here's another solo kill. Chachi gets another solo kill. Turret. I mean, now there's like a 3k gold lead in top lane. I mean, Boss is just 0-5. I think he ends the game. He's like 0-12 or something. And Chachi is just like running over the entire game. And if you watch this game and you see how Los Ratones is playing, the whole game revolves around the fact that Nord has this super insanely fed Trundle, and it's just the other players on the team trying to like outplay situations. Like Nemesis, Crowny, and Reckless are trying to figure out ways to outplay these situations, while the Trundle is like this massive like pressure on them at all times. Like there's times here, like for example, where Chachi, if Chachi was a better player, he wouldn't TP to match fights and he would just sit in a side lane forever, and then Los Ratones would not have a chance to be able to win this game. So another person would be Armut, right? Like you go in the Armut game. So for example, game 1 is a game where he's playing Garen versus Jax. Like people have this idea that he's like dying profitably and he's like perma-proxying on Jax. Like I actually think that the games where he's not dying that much and he's just like farming are his best games. But like here's another example of like he's just not winning this lane versus Jax, and his team does not have opportunity to do things on the other side of the map. So there's not like a strategy here where the Garen is creating a situation where that's profitable for his team, right? Like it's not like he's like proxied really. He's just laning normally. Then he just like is disrespecting enemy, like doesn't have a ward down. Enemy jungler can easily be topside here. I mean, enemy jungler was clearing. I mean, here they should know where he is. They ping on him, so they know that enemy jungler is topside. Their jungler is also topside, and Boss just goes for this wave, which is just illegal to go for. He dies, doesn't even get the whole wave. Armut's like opening up a lead, then he has no flash. Same thing. Dies again. And there's just no cross map available. Like this is not a timer where, like, if you look at the map, there's no timer here where his bot lane can actually like do stuff, right? Then we go game 2. I'm giving him the, so this is a game where I feel like he plays well, you know, like, but this is not a game where he's just like running it down in side lane and, you know, his team is benefiting on the other side of the map. Like when he plays against real teams that actually understand how the game works, this isn't like the most normal thing that happens. This isn't like the thing that happens every single game. So it's like here, this game where he actually beats Armut, look at how easy the game is based off him just hitting level 6 and just outplaying like Armut in lane. Like when he's winning lane, it's so much easier for them to win. Like it's not a good thing that he just dies a bunch in the lane. That's not like the strategy of Los Ratones. It's like his teammates are good enough to manage the situation. And sometimes it can be good if the enemy team over acclimates resources to the situation. If they decide to put too many resources into the situation, then it can be good. But the enemy team doesn't have to do that by default. And it's not like this is always some calculated strategy from Los Ratones. So here, this was actually one of the best games I saw him play. But it didn't come from him like inting top. Like I would say he carried this game. This is a good Boss game. And this isn't like meant to shit on Boss. Like I'm just trying to explain like what I'm seeing with the playstyle. And then, yeah, I mean, this is like a game that I would say was like a much better game, but it didn't have to go, it didn't have to deal with him like just dying a lot for no reason. Game 3. So he's playing Galio versus Cassante. Here's him just dying. Also, I just want to throw that out there. The rarely dies solo thing, like that is just not true. Like, that is just a straight up lie that he rarely dies solo. He probably has some of the most solo deaths. They do solo deaths weirdly. So solo deaths means that you die with your teammates not around you. But if you looked at how many deaths he has throughout games, it's like he's not getting ganked every, like, this is just a dry Cassante solo kill, and he didn't even like get the wave here. Like, there's no way you could argue that this is somehow profitable, and it's not like his team gets anything bot lane for this, right? It's just a dry solo kill. And you can go through like other games too, like go through games where he's playing against like good teams though. Like, don't go through games when he's playing against like Lundqvist Lightside or one of like the teams in the group stage at NLC. Go through games where you like know who the top laner is, or it's like a respectable opponent, and look at how the situation is top. It's not profitable frequently. Okay, so let's look at this Kane game he played. He already died, so he goes for this proxy. This is a proxy where his jungler is just pathing bot side. Here they go for this invade. Enemy team is the Ziggs. It's very hard to make a play. His jungler is split map bot side. He is split map top side. This is a situation where you normally want to play like pretty safe. He's deciding like he's gonna miss part of this wave, and he's just gonna try to proxy here while the enemy jungler is top side proxying. I mean, he didn't even get the entire wave. He's just dead to Skeens. Like, this is just in Skeens clear, by the way. This is not like Skeens had to do something crazy. It's not like Skeens did his bot side and went to top. Skeens is just transitioning from enemy red side jungle to his own blue side jungle, and then he's just getting a free kill. Then you go through, keep on going through. Here's another thing the boss is trying to do. Like, he tries to proxy, doesn't get the wave. Like, an Armut's not even playing the situation well. And it's not like he is just dragging resources away because the Viego is just going to be clearing like this anyway. So here's the situation where it's a good play from Reckless and Crowny. It's mega illegal for the jungler to die here, or the bot lane to die here, because they know that the jungler is taking grubs, which is just like a consequence. When you look at the grub situation, it's just a consequence of both junglers are splitting the map, right? So because Skeens is going to be taking topside camps, he's going to be topside. He's going to take the topside objective. Because Velia is splitting bot side camps, he's going to take the bot objective. This whole idea by Los Ratones is not because of, oh, like boss is inting, so we're doing this. It's because they're stronger level 1. So when Los Ratones looks at this game, they're like, we have Braum, we're really strong level 1. We have Nidalee, we're really strong level 1. So we're going to invade bot side, and we're going to try to create like a good situation for our team here. So they die bot. At the same time, boss gets solo killed. Here, I mean, if you look at what Supermassive is doing, like, the Rel already died. The Rel has been dead for 10 seconds, and like they're just trying to overforce bot side. Like, there's nothing that there's no reason they need to do this, right? They could easily just catch the wave together. There's no way that Los Ratones is going to actually be able to dive Supermassive here, but here Supermassive is just inting. Like, this is not a good play. This is not like a, oh, like it was calculated, like boss made them int on the other side of the map. It's just like, it's just not true. You look at this game, and boss returns to lane. Dies again. I mean, this is just the situation that you're in. And then you're just lucky that Armut is not Thanatos, bro. If this Gwen speaks Korean, you're going to be in trouble. That's all I'm saying. If this is Thanatos right here, and you play like this into him, the Gwen is going to 1v9 the entire game. Like, that's just what's going to happen. If it's Armut, who's been washed for about like 4 years, like maybe then you can still win this game. But this is not like, these are not good deaths. And people, it's weird, right? Because everyone always tells me that I'm the one that doesn't understand boss's strategy, and that like boss's strategy is actually really good. It's like it's like the new pro play strategy that no one's smart enough to understand. And it's like all the fucking like people like me just don't get it because we don't watch it. But it's like, I feel like I'm in a fucking crazy world, because then when I go back and I watch like the games, I watch the ICJ series. I mean, I could keep on doing this, right? I'm just going through games that he's playing against like reasonable opponents. When you play in ERLs, you're not going to play against reasonable opponents every week, right? You're going to play against different levels of opponents. When you're playing in the NLC, like, you're going to get some easy opponents, right? Like, you know, his stats will be inflated in the NLC because of the lower bracket run that he's about to go on, right? So when you look versus reasonable opponents, he is going to be a liability. Like, it shouldn't be ridiculous to say that if he kept the same exact playstyle, he plays the game in the same exact way, which seems like he's very dedicated to, he would be a liability for the team in the LEC. I feel like that shouldn't be ridiculous, but for some reason it is. I mean, I guess it's just because he's like super popular. He has a lot of fans, like people like him, which is like, I like him too. Like, I just think that like as a pro play strategy, I just don't think this is like a like new pro play strategy that is like so fucking good and no one understands it. Like, I just disagree there. Like, when it comes to the analysis of the game itself, this is where I disagree with everyone. Like, I do like the team. Like, I think the project is fucking fun. Like, I think that Cage was capitalized on a part of esports that has kind of been forgotten, which is like actually like knowing the players and like rooting for the team, and he's generated like a real fandom. It's just like, I just don't like when people tell me that I don't know what I'm seeing when I'm watching the game. You presented great points, however, boss's aura, so all your arguments are invalid. No, like, the thing is, I kind of wish I could go through more. I mean, I could technically go through more. We could go through all of his games. I went through the ICJ games as well. The thing is, it's like, people are going to say it's cherry picking, but it's like, I'm just picking the games that are against his best opponents. I would go through all of his games against the best teams he played against. And I think that's the most fair way to do it, because the idea is if you're moving up to LEC, you're going to be playing against better opponents than in ERLs. Here, try this.
9. There have been countless strategies and metas that in some way broke the game's balance. There is one specific meta in 2018 that is credited not only with ruining solo queue, but also professional play. This meta was so hated
Was this the crab meta?
by the players, the casters, and the viewers at home that Riot was forced to intervene. Meanwhile, in solo queue, this is what was happening. We'll be talking more about that later. This nightmare meta had such an impact that to this day, 7 years later, it is still considered by many to be the worst that the game has ever seen. It was so despised that Riot is still actively making changes to keep this strategy from ever returning. But it's so strong and so smart that it keeps coming back anyway. If you played League back then, you already know what I'm talking about. This video is going to cover the rise and fall of the funnel meta and the legacy of one of the most toxic and...
You know who was actually the GOAT of the funnel meta? Herx, bro. Herx was literally the GOAT of the funnel meta. He was so fucking good at it.
Of all time.
It's taking over pretty much every region right now, and it's really boring to watch.
I think the funneling should be nerfed. Most pros think funneling should be nerfed. And from what I have seen, most players at home also think funneling should be nerfed.
They're clearly just about not letting G2 play this.
I agree that funneling should be nerfed, but the thing is that once funneling was bad, this is what Riot always does. They'll take something that like deserves to be nerfed, and then they'll make it bad, and then people will still play it when it's bad, which should be okay. Like, I didn't mind playing against Yi Tarek after they nerfed it, and it was just objectively terrible. Like, they just nerfed it to the point, and then they just kind of removed it from the game and were like, no, it's completely dead. I feel like so many strategies that are annoying end up always getting removed from the game completely, as opposed to being nerfed to the point where they're like it's like a niche viable strategy. It's like 1 in every 100 pro games is a funnel game. Then I would be cool with it.
It's like really stupid funnel combo.
Oh, what's that? You don't like it?
This looks like it's a practice game. The observer's like, yeah, we'll just play fun stuff. No, this is the meta.
Like, why is that in the game?
The funnel meta is one of the most well-known in League's history, but for those who are lucky enough to have not lived through it, the strategy involved funneling as many resources as possible onto one single player. This was in the form of a laner and jungle duo, usually in the mid lane. One player played a carry, and the other a supportive champion. The carry
Holy Ian Pilot Max ADD. Holy shit, this is back in the day, bro. Holy
in the mid lane. One player played a carry, and the other a supportive champion. The carry would clear the jungle, taking all the golden experience. The support would stay in lane and hold the
unfun
wave.
things should be removed. Okay, so if I find like 80, so I think 80 carry support bot lane is pretty unfun. I think that it should go back to season 1 where you could play like kill lanes and stuff like that. Doesn't seem like that's ever removed.
So that the carry could farm it instead. This meant that the carry would be getting double the amount of golden experience.
When they tried to remove 80 carries from the bot lane and add in like mages and stuff, everyone just cried and like quit the game.
Than they were actually balanced around having in a normal game of League. And this broke League's balance entirely. The funnel strategy overall was a disaster for professional play and led to some of the most ridiculous competitive matches of all time, including a game that had 3 smites and no jungler. But before we talk about that, we need to look at where this meta even came from, who discovered it, and how. Well, if you look it up, you'll find all sorts of information saying that it started in 2018. This is partially true, but it goes back way further than that, to a different game mode entirely. Twisted Treeline, 3v3. This was an old League of Legends game mode that was removed in 2019. For years, funneling was the meta in this game mode. One champion would take all of the resources from the top lane and the jungle, and it's really the origin of the funnel meta in League. Even on Summoner's Rift, parts of the funnel strategy had started to show up very early on. In Season 2 and 3, it was expected in competitive play that you'd see the mid laner take wolves or wraiths constantly, due to the lead that it would give in lane. Then of course, they'd start taking blue buff too. Jungling was truly a miserable experience. In 2017 though, a full year before the funnel strategy,
I played through that. That was horrible. That was really unfun.
Chinese servers were using it as their go-to strategy. You can even find posts from people around this time confused about what this strategy was, asking for explanations about how they lost so fast with seemingly no counterplay. These boosters relied on ranking accounts up quickly and reliably to make a living. So if there's an optimal way to rank up, they're going to find it. And
I mean, it's also just that the Chinese boosters were doing this with like people that weren't skilled. It wasn't actually, if you knew how to play against funnel, it wasn't like unplayable to play against it. The reason that boosters were doing this is because you could do it with somebody who was really skilled and one person that was lower skilled. Like the Taric doesn't have to do anything besides for follow the Master Yi around and play Taric, right? Like you don't actually have to do anything. Whereas normally if you were going to like get high ranked accounts with other players, you would have to just find 2 really good players as opposed to just 1.
Is exactly what happened. Master Yi and Taric would eventually become the faces of the funnel strategy, but on the Chinese server, it was originally played mostly with Kayle instead of Taric, using her ultimate to make Yi. Kayle would heal and buff Yi while building items like Ardent Censer and Knight's Vow. Ardent Censer, even on its own, was very strong at this point. It's worth noting that even though this...
Honestly, this was the only funnel meta, like from playing solo queue at the time, I actually didn't care about the funnel meta outside of like Master Yi Taric. Like when I was playing in solo queue, I would just ban Master Yi every game, and then I never cared if people funneled. Like if people tried to funnel like Kai'Sa, Nunu, or these types of other ones, I actually did not think that it was that OP.
Was long before the world swim.
Like it's not super easy to execute. The main problem with the funnel meta on Master Yi is that Master Yi would just like be unkillable with Taric, and he would just 1v9 every single fight, so it would just feel impossible. You'd have to draft CC. Like there was games where I would just draft like Pantheon wasn't even being played in the jungle. I would just play Pantheon jungle, so I'd have point and click CC. It was just a horror.
People knew Ardent was going to be a problem, but that's a story for a different video, which you should definitely check out. After collecting as much gold and experience as possible, Master Yi would just stat check anyone in his way. It didn't matter if it was 1 person or 5 people. No need for skill expression, no need to counter anything, just right click and let the enormous experience and gold difference do all the work. There was really nothing that could be done by the enemy laner to deal with this when done properly. Once Kayle hit level 6, they would just walk on you under your tower, and you would just lose. This is all based around solo queue though. It wasn't until 2018 that the funnel strategy really started to get popular and made its way into pro play. There were a ton of balance changes that Riot had recently made which contributed to this. Patch 8.10 nerfed early game junglers, reducing the experience they received. It also massively buffed Scuttlecrab, shout out to me.
So fucking stupid, so insanely stupid. This was the worst meta of all time. So if you don't know what this meta was, what you used to do is you would play things specifically like Camille or Xin Zhao. You would do red into Krugs, and then you'd go to the crab at 2 minutes and 15 seconds, or 2 minutes. You'd have to be at the crab at 2 minutes, and if you killed crab, you got level 3, and then you play from there. And if you lost crab, you could forfeit the entire game. Like, that was the meta. It was just so stupid, bro. It's just like, what a horrible. This is to me when the game started dying in terms of fun.
Now gave over 10 times the experience from level 1 and doubled the gold.
10 times the experience from level 1, and it spawned at 2 minutes.
Both scaling even further throughout the game. This was a huge buff to funneling, because the team that was doing it was able to have complete control of Scuttlecrab as they had permanent lane priority. There